Welcome to the Ecom Profit Podcast. I'm your host, Dawn Sinkula, and today we are going to talk about email marketing, all things email marketing, and why email marketing is so important to your e-commerce business. Now, let me tell you, I have heard from so many of my customers, clients, and email subscribers that email marketing sort of becomes this like world of the unknown. But let me tell you, if you are not doing email marketing right, you are missing out on some key pieces to growing and scaling your business. Not only are you leaving revenue on the table, but you are leaving your customers wanting and asking for more. So here's a few things that we're going to cover today. Talk about flows, emails, all sorts of stuff, and what's important, what's not important when it comes to email marketing. Okay. So first and foremost, email marketing, I think we all know what that is, but just in case, it's like making sure that you have a list of people that have subscribed to your email list or are customers, and they are then given and or you get something in return, meaning they've purchased something from you, they've given you their email in like exchange for a discount or something along those lines. Okay. So email marketing still to this day remains one of the most effective tools in marketing, and it allows for you to be really personal with your communication with your clients. It's also the thing that if you were to ever, not be on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, you still have access to your email list. And it's one of the most important things in your business. It's like your little pot of gold that you want to continue to grow and scale as you continue building your business. Okay. So communicating with your audience, driving engagement, driving conversions, all of that kind of stuff is really important when it comes to email marketing. But I hear oftentimes, I don't know what to email. I don't know when to email them. I don't have any flows set up in my business. So let's just kind of start at the very beginning, first and foremost, and talk about segmentation of your email list. Okay. So segmentation to me is where you provide specific communication to customers based on actions that they have taken on your website, whether they've purchased, what they've purchased, or maybe they're just looking around. So this is how you tailor that message, that segmentation piece. Now, depends on the email tool that you're using. So like Klaviyo or MailChimp or Constant Contact, Active Campaign, whatever those things are, there's always a way that you can segment out those clients based on the behaviors that they have taken on your website or purchased. So making sure that you're segmenting out your email list is really important so that you can send those personalized messages. So also increasing relevance. So what do I mean by increasing relevance? What I mean by that is make sure that the messages that you're sending to those segmented lists actually make sense. So you don't want to send a post-purchase flow to someone who has just been browsing on your website. You don't want to go into great detail about a specific product if that person actually hasn't purchased that product. So making sure that the relevance of what you're communicating and emailing to specific segments of your email list is really important. And that's why segmenting is important. Now, I do think that there is value in sending out what we call newsletters or weekly communication that's kind of broad in communication and isn't segmented. And that would go to your main list. Something that maybe is educational or informational, or maybe you have a promotion, but once a week, I think at least once a week, that type of communication is important for the general list, not necessarily segmentation. Okay, so that content should also be value driven. So what does that mean? Value driven. It kind of goes beyond just promoting things all the time. It really talks about your business. It gives tips or tricks. We kind of use the informational, educational, promotional sort of, one type of email each week when we're talking about broad newsletters. And I think that way it kind of gives that value driven. So you're not always just sending promotions to your customers, asking them to buy something, and or it doesn't show that you're always discounting your products every time you're sending out to an email list, right? So when I think about informational, it's information about your brand. It's information about your product. It's information about how to use your product. And a lot of people say, well, what's the difference between educational and informational? And I think of informational more as things you didn't know or things you couldn't Google, right? Things you couldn't Google about my brand, things that you couldn't Google about my product, things that are going to help you get more value out of the product, ways to use the product, things, tips and tricks that maybe you didn't recognize or even know were possible. And then obviously promotion is just that. It's a promotion or a product launch or something that incites or wants them to purchase. You're asking them to purchase, giving them a promotion, a discount to purchase, right? So those are the kinds of newsletters and segmentations and things like that I really think are important when you're talking about email. And again, having an email list, really important. Some of the other pieces, as we kind of get into the tactical parts of email marketing, a lot of things and a lot of people that I see come to the agency are really not set up correctly with the types of flows that they have in their email marketing system. So when I mean flows, this is different than your newsletters on a weekly basis. These are things that are set up, flows that are set up in automation, meaning that your client or customer has taken action and you send out an automated email sequence, a flow that happens based on that process or that decision or that action that that client customer has taken. So for example, let's say you've got a pop-up on your website and on that pop-up it says for get 10% off for giving me your email address, or you get 10% off if you give me your phone number, or maybe it's a combination of both. That would then that exchange of giving an email for the discount would then trigger an automated email flow, a sequence, so a series of emails that would be started based on the action that that person took. So in this example, where someone gives you their phone number or their email for a discount, that would kick off, let's say, like a welcome series. And a welcome series really is about introducing them to your brand. So things like, here's your 10% discount. Enjoy this, a little bit about who you are. Here's a link to that type of thing. Then what you want to do is tell them and educate them a little bit about your brand. They're brand new. We're assuming that they haven't purchased anything. We're assuming that they don't know anything about your brand. We're assuming that they aren't someone who we want to make sure that that potential customer is educated and understands kind of what the story behind your brand is. So this is what I like to call like a founder story, or a story of who you are, what the company's all about. And this welcome sequence is a series of emails that goes on over, let's say, 10 days, usually 5 to 7 emails that talks about the business, talks about your company, talks about your products, gives a bit of the background story, and then encourages them to purchase if they haven't used that discount that you gave them in that first email. Okay. So that is really, really important. And you need to have a really strong welcome sequence that is going on at any point, regardless. Okay. And then the next one that I think is an important email flow or sequence, flow and sequence interchangeably using the same words, flow and sequence. So the next sequence I think that is really important is the site abandonment sequence. And what is that? That means that someone came to your site and they jumped off or abandoned and they didn't take action and they didn't purchase anything. Okay. So they just kind of clicked, went away. And what you want to do with them is you want to encourage them to come back. You want to encourage them to shop more. You want to encourage them to take a look around. And again, a series of emails that you set that automatically happen, so you don't have to do it every time, based on the action that your customer is taking on your website. Now, browse abandonment cart checkout abandonment, those are two others that I think are really important. And again, it's based on the action that your potential customer is taking with you. And those can be a series of 3 to 5 emails as well. They are different. So, browse abandonment is somebody went and looked at a product on your website and they were browsing and they didn't actually take action, meaning they didn't put it in their cart and they didn't purchase. So, they were just browsing around. Different from site abandonment, which is I just went to your site, didn't look at anything and went away. Okay. So cart and checkout abandonment is just that. They actually put something in their cart, but for whatever reason, they decided they didn't want it or that life got in the way and they were distracted. So you're encouraging them to come back to that particular product that they had in their cart and purchase it. And you can, again, send them several different email sequences if they don't take action on that first email. So there's really unique ways within, let's say Klaviyo, for example, of where you can actually put the product that the potential customer was looking at into that email sequence based on dynamic viewing. It's a very cool, easy way for people to get personalized emails, right? So I was talking about making sure those emails are personalized and segmented based on what that person actually is doing or what they have done. This is a great way to do that with your flow. So if someone is purchasing or looking at purchasing widget A and they actually put widget A in their cart, then the email that you send to them, you want to make sure that it's talking specifically about widget A and not widget B or C or just about the website because they really didn't look at that or they maybe don't remember that. They remembered that they had widget A in their cart. And so you want to encourage them to come back. And you can make that image dynamic within your emails, and that can happen automatically. So you start to see the power of where this happens, where this email marketing and these flows start to work for you without you needing to do it. Now, of course, there's work to like get it all set up and to make these all happen at the beginning. But once you do, really what you're going to need to do is just do some split testing. And I'll talk about that in just a second. So we talked about a welcome series. We've talked about a site abandonment series. We've talked about a browse abandonment, maybe cart or checkout abandonment. The other one that I think is really important is a customer win back series. So these are for customers who have purchased once before, but have not purchased again within a certain amount of time. Now, certain amount of time can be whatever you think it is. Sometimes it's like for 180 days, sometimes 90 days, 60 days, 30 days, whatever is the average repeat order for your particular product. That's the amount of time that you should put in for the customer win back strategy. Now, what this customer win back strategy is doing is really telling your customers, hey, at one point you thought we were really cool. At one point you thought this was awesome. You bought something from us. We want to make sure that one, you're opening up our emails still, and two, you know that either we still have the same amazing products that you purchased the first time, or we've got new products. Come check them out. This sequence can really help you with customer engagement, open email rates. It can also really help you understand if your customers are clicking or purchasing or interested in certain things. And you want to encourage people to open the emails and go to your website. And then based on the action that they take on your website, would then send them additional things. You can make this as complex or as easy as you need it to be, these different flows and series and sequences. If this, then that, if this, then that, yes, no. And it can get really, really complex. But what I'm here to tell you is that even just having some basic flows that are automated will help you increase sales and will help drive sales to your website without you even having to do anything. So, customer win back is another one. Finally, a sunset. Now, there's a lot more that you can add to this and add to your flows, but these are the ones that I think I see as the biggest sales drivers and the ones that I know have made our customers and our clients a lot of money. So, sunset is really just that. It's one of those emails that says, "Hey, you aren't doing anything with us anymore. You're not opening up our emails. You're not buying anything. We haven't heard from you for a long time. If you don't engage with us, we're actually going to like take you off our email list." Because one thing that you do want to do is you want to make sure that you're cleaning your email on a regular basis. You want to make sure that it is scrubbed or cleaned probably every 30 or 60 days, and that you want to make sure that that email list is of the highest quality, meaning people are taking action. They're opening up your emails and they're actually doing something when they're opening those emails. And if they're not going to do that, you don't want to pay for them because you have to pay to keep them on your list. You don't want to do that if they're not going to be taking action. So the sunset email flow sequence is a great way to get people to either take action or to sunset them. That way, you segment them out of your list, of your main list, and you put them in a list that says, they're not really active right now. We're not going to continue to send them emails. We're not going to continue to, market to them. They're really just not that interested. So they go off of your list and you don't pay for them anymore. Okay. So those are the email sequences that I think are the most important, in addition to making sure that you're sending consistent weekly newsletters. Now, one of the things that people always get kind of, well, I've set up all these flows and they're not really working. Well, you need to make sure that you're doing split testing and that you're optimizing. One of the best ways to see what's going to work is to split test, meaning you can have different subject lines for the same email, and one may be opened more so than the other, right? A/B testing. You may have different images in one email versus the other, and see which of those, or formats or design, and see which of those sells more based on that particular element, right? So all of them, if they're not making money for you, you should be split testing. And if they start stalling after they've already made you money, they can and should be split testing. So this is, yes, something that you put on automation and it can kind of continue to go without you, but it is also something that you should revisit and look at on a monthly basis, and something that you should be A/B testing if your flows are not consistently making you money. Okay. So that was a really fast overview of what email marketing is, why you should have flows, and why you should segment and treat your email list like a little pot of gold that should be working for you, making money on the back end without you having to do anything. Now, if you're really not sure how to do this and you want some help and advice, you can reach out to me or my team, and we will help you with flows and automation that you can get set up one and done. We can help you do that, and we can help you audit and give you sort of a review of what you currently have going if you're not making consistent money with your email marketing. Thank you guys so much for listening. I appreciate it, and watch for more tips and tricks coming your way on how to be profitable in your e-commerce business.